Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I would like to show you something about our latest development for smart heating. So if you have a situation where you have lots of temperature sensors in a room existing, heating or climate control using an AC, we have a new option which is a room controller that you can assign your LoRaWAN devices to and run automation for heating. I'm going to show this now. So we have developed everything in Cake Red using our latest additions to the actual Datacake node set. There's Datacake controllers and you can drag and drop these controllers here on the flow actually. As you can see, these nodes have inputs and outputs. For inputs, you can assign LoRaWAN devices or devices on Datacake. We have various kinds of nodes available for this. There's, for example, the MQTT sensor node that you can drag and drop and then select a configuration and then also assign if that's a temperature, humidity, occupancy, window contact, and so on. Now, if you go inside a room node, you can actually control the room. Let's call this meeting room, room name, ID, and then a location path. For example, ground floor dot meeting rooms dot meeting room 01. You could assign tags optionally, and then you have a couple of different controls. So for example, the temperature set point. Default is 21, but you can override this with a message or a slider or any other configuration. A hysteresis for determining when heating is switched on and off and to avoid rapid on and off switching. You also see the heating actually here in this diagram. We also have cooling control, which means cooling control is something if the room gets too warm, then you can switch on the AC, for example. So both cooling and heating works at the same time. So in this case, when the temperature is above 24 degrees, it starts to cool down the room. So it sends a command and basically returns to 23 degree and then switches off the cooling again. We also have something like frost protection. When a room falls below 10 degrees, always switch on the heating, no matter if the room is occupied or not. The same goes for cooling if it is above 35 degrees. We have humidity control if you want it. For ACs, for example. We also have the occupancy control, and we also switch on heating or cooling only when the room is occupied. Window control, so for example, if somebody opens the window, switch off the heating. We're triggering, so to ensure that downlinks have been received a couple of times, you can send them. And then also an online-offline detection, which we are going to leave as default. Now, this has been set up. We are going to set up the other rooms quickly. Okay, now you can see we have set up 3 different rooms in here. Now, it's time for attaching sensors, but before we do this, I want to explain how these nodes actually work. So based on all the settings that we have and the live data coming from your attached sensors, you can see each of these nodes have 4 or at least 5 different outputs. So there's an output for heating on. There's an output for heating off, for cooling on, and for cooling off, and a log output that you can use to log everything using this debug node here, for example. Now, if you want to control devices, for example, to switch on the heating, you actually attach a node. We do have a new downlink node, which is the multi-downlink node. And in this, you can actually select the Datacake configuration, and then basically select different kinds of devices and the actual downlink, another downlink, and also a delay between these downlinks to avoid collisions for Class C devices, for example. We can attach this here, deploy it. You see 2 downlinks have been attached, and you will automatically do this also for switching off, but then also for cooling if you have an AC attached and if the cooling is enabled for your room. Now let me delete this, not to send some downlinks based on the testing. Now, if you want to see the status of the rooms, there's a new node for it, which is the room controller dashboard. Simply drag and drop this onto your Cake Red or No-Red flow. Double click to actively control or set up the settings. This is the room controller status. This creates this link here and also a couple of informations. We can set the refresh interval to 30 seconds. We have optional authentication. We can leave this like it is. Click on deploy, and this dashboard is now hosted over your Cake Red. You can click on this and then you can see all of your rooms in here. So these are the 3 rooms that we just created. You can also see that we have actually some folders in here. So you can filter based on the actual location. You can see this in the tree view. or just show all of the rooms or filter based on the actual status. Now let's simulate how these room controllers are actually working by going back into our Cake. We have some helpers that help us to simulate values. I'm going to set this up. This is for temperature, or let's call it room temperature. Now I created 4 simulation nodes for room temperature, temperature set point, the occupancy status, and window open or closed. So let's start to report or simulate a room temperature of 21 degrees. You can see it has received the data right now. The set point is 21 degrees, the temperature 21 degrees, window open is 0, occupancy is 0, heating is off, cooling is off. You can also see this in the room controller dashboard. If I reload this once more, we can also see that the current temperature is actually now set. Now we can go ahead and actually simulate a falling room temperature to, let's say, 16.5 degrees Celsius. Send this value, and now you can see, okay, the temperature is 16.5. We can also see this here in the meeting room, but heating is not switched on. This is because we said that the heating is only switched on when the occupancy status is, or the room is occupied. Let's simulate this. Simulate the occupancy to true, set value, and now you can already see here heating turned on, room occupied. So we can see this here in the red icon. You can also see this here on the status dashboard. And basically, we could, for example, also simulate somebody is leaving the room, false, send value in the log, heating turned off, and it is the same here on our dashboard, room not occupied, heating is switched off. But then, for example, let's simulate a room temperature that falls below our emergency, frost protection. And now you can see there's a yellow icon here, and also you can see here emergency alert active, meeting room, frost protection active. This continues to be, for example, on the other side. Let's simulate a room temperature above 29 degrees. Right now, again, heating is turned off, room is not occupied, cooling is turned off. But if, for example, we change this occupancy status to true, we can see it here. Okay, this is now in cooling mode. So this is the room controller actually. And of course, you would hook up a couple of other devices here that are real IoT devices, LoRaWAN devices, MQTT devices, whatever. And then on the other side, you would basically attach the downlinks. And these nodes are able to replace the rule engine of Datacake in these ways where you need flexible room controller with cooling, heating support, alerting, and statistics. And also you get this nice room status dashboard for overview. Last but not least, I wasn't simulating the window status, but that's something that we could do here right now. Send this to true, and then because the window was opened, we can see in the same way, room occupied, temperature is above the set point, but window is open, and otherwise it would maintain the cooling. That's it. Let us know what you think. If you have some nice use cases for smart heating, existing devices that use external heaters, and all you need is basically some LoRaWAN devices and a device to control the heating. That's it. We can help you with setting up such a scenario. It's compatible with different versions of Node-RED. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.